launch vehicles in the pursuit.
These are radar units.
You can see some tools here that we keep staged inside the
We
bear.
also found a couple of suspects hiding on rooftops with the drone, which we would not have been able to find.
We have an outside rec area, so I'm going to walk over here so you can see we've pared down the table areas.
Hello everybody, welcome back to week 2. We had a little hiccup. Apparently the Wi-Fi signal inside the Public Safety Training Center is not as strong as we thought. So we're going to do this a little bit different this week, but next week and the following week we will be back live. So this week we're just going to record it. We're going to get it up to you on Facebook. If you're watching it now, it worked. If not, well, you wouldn't see it anyways. So let's just go over. Last week we got to see the sheriff. He was here, gave us kind of an overview. Commander Marzilli from Patrol, he was here. He was able to let us know about the Patrol Division, and then also one of the canines from the canine team, Corporal Micah Aiken and his dog Stark were able to show up. If you didn't get a chance to see that, go ahead and go to our YouTube live, or excuse me, our YouTube page, and you can watch that video. It's actually pretty good. It's only about an hour long. So today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to go over a handful of subjects. First of all, we're going to talk to our investigation commander, Commander McCrae. We're also going to get a chance to take a look at some of these vehicles, one of which right behind me is the Bear. That is utilized by our Tactical Negotiation Team, or TNT. The sergeant of that team, Sergeant Crecilius, he'll be here. He's going to walk us through it. You get to see the ins and outs, all the fun little toys that they have in there. Then to my right is our CNU van, Crisis Negotiation Unit. Deputy Starr is going to be here. He's going to show us the inside and outside of that. Lots of technology that goes in there to help communication along with any kind of situation they're dealing with, whether it may be a barricaded subject or any kind of hostage type situation. He'll explain that. He knows a lot more than myself. And then finally, last but not least, we're going to have Deputy Huey here. He is from the Remote Operated Vehicle Team. So a lot of the stuff that they have, you think robots, but now drones, lots of drones. So he's going to show you a couple of those. I see a drone over there. I see a robot over there. We'll get to see those later. But first, we're going to start with Commander McCrae. Take 2. Go over your resume one more time. 10 years U.S. Navy.
Yes.
5 years San Diego Police. You were hired at the Sheriff's Office 2002, where you started as a deputy,
Yes.
patrol sergeant, sergeant in internal affairs, or what we call PSU, stands for?
Professional Standards Unit.
See, I don't go there much. I don't have to deal with them. I've never had that problem, so we're good. I don't know what they stand for. Lieutenant in the jail and a lieutenant in patrol.
Yes.
Dual certified patrol and jail.
Yes.
Then you were the jail division, excuse me, the patrol commander, and now you're investigations commander.
That's correct.
We could have went over what you haven't done. It would have been shorter. So, very qualified for this position. Tell us about investigations. What do you guys have? What kind of groups, teams, whatever it may be?
Okay. So in investigations, we have a total of 53 staff. We have 1 commander, which myself. We have 2 lieutenants, 5 sergeants, a senior administrative support supervisor. We have several support staff. We have a total of 28 detectives. We have 1 jail investigator. We have a digital forensics unit has staffing in it. And then we have our narcotics team.
Okay. What's your busiest unit?
Our busiest unit is our violence crime unit. For investigations, we have basically 3 units, violent crimes, property crimes, and our special investigations unit. And violent crimes would be the busiest.
So the number one question that we get related to investigations has to do with package thefts, or porch pirates, as some people may call them. Are we going to see an uptick? Is property crimes going to see an uptick in their kind of call load when it comes to the holiday seasons and more packages are starting to be delivered?
We usually see an uptick during the holiday season just because it's an opportunity for people to, a lot more opportunity for people to take packages. So we typically get our bait package program started up at this point and just select areas where we think that are being hit a lot more often. So that's where we'll start at.
And just from the public affairs side of things, we see a lot of national attention on this program. I think it was Detective Altier was one of the main ones who started this.
Yes.
And it's really incredible some of the stuff that you guys are able to do. Caught several people. We won't go into all the ins and outs of technology, but essentially, let me get this straight. You put a package out there, it looks like something that may have been delivered from USPS, Amazon, whatever it may be, and you guys are able to track it one way or another if someone wants to pick it up.
Yes. We work with the U.S. Postal Service in setting the package out. There's several reasons for that, and the DA's office in making sure that what we are doing is appropriate. So when we set these package out, we're doing everything that we need to be doing in order to do a proper investigation.
Gotcha. All right. Another one of the units you talked about was Special Investigation Unit, or SIU.
Right.
Tell us about them. Doesn't really sounds like a secret squirrel squad.
Well, our Special Investigation Unit deal with intel gathering and things of that nature. We work with the FBI and several other agencies collecting information, whether it's narcotics, gang activity, organized crime, domestic and international terrorism type situations, where we're sharing information from law enforcement to law enforcement and other agencies that need that information.
Okay. And you mentioned it quickly when you were doing the overview, the WIN team, or the West Side Interagency Narcotic Team. Talk about them and some of the other joint teams that we either are head of or maybe a part of when it comes to investigations.
So our WIN team is comprised of several members from local law enforcement agency as well as the FBI, where they investigate drug activity within Washington County. We also have our Major Crimes Unit, which deals with felonious assaults or homicide situations within the Washington County area. We team with the DA's office as well as local law enforcement agencies. They have a detective assigned to that team, and they do those investigations that occur in Washington County.
So, and one of the more recent ones is the Digital Forensic Lab. Can you touch on that real quick?
So with the changes at times, people's cell phones is your lifeline, and your cell phone contains a lot of information. And sometimes that information on that phone can help us solve a lot of investigative work. So we have a digital forensics lab where we can download information from your cell phone or a computer or things of that nature, where we might need that information to help solve whatever crime we're involved in or investigating.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming out, taking the time. Doing this twice.
Yes.
But we're gonna jump to JC, or Sergeant Crecilius, sorry. And he's gonna give us a tour of the bear, but thank you. I know you guys have to switch some mics, so we'll go from there. All right, now we're here with Sergeant Crecilius, lead sergeant of the tactical negotiation team, right?
Yes, and JC is fine. That's I go by JC.
Okay,
so,
that works. I like
totally
informal. So tell us about yourself. How long have you been at the sheriff's office? How long have you been on TNT? How long have you been lead?
So I started full-time with the sheriff's office 18 years ago. I've been on TNT, Tactical Negotiations Team, for 13 years, and I've been the team leader for 2.5.
Okay.
And yeah, best job ever. I love it.
And how many guys and gals are on the team, and how many agencies are a part of it?
Yeah, TNT, so it's what we call a collateral duty team. We maintain NTOA, National Tactical Officers Association, Tier 1 standards for SWAT teams. And we have, being a collateral duty team means that the officers that are on the team are part of, they have other jobs. So they work patrol or detectives or in another special assignment, and then part-time they do the SWAT team. We train 3 days a month, and then 2 week-long sessions, one in the spring and one in the fall, where the whole team gets together and trains all week. And that is for their base training to maintain their skills on the team. And it doesn't include specialty training, like if we send our breachers out to external training or in service, or like our snipers to a particular course. In general, I'd say on average, our SWAT team members get about 230 to 250 hours of training a year. And we're a fairly busy SWAT team for Oregon. So just today, we had our 120th activation for 2021. And activation can be anything from what you might imagine on TV, where you get the full team, everybody goes, and it's a big deal or a big incident. But we also count activations where maybe 4 or 5 TNT operators will go and assist patrol that's like what we did earlier today, is we had what we call an on-duty activation. And so operators that were on duty working their normal jobs got tapped out to assist with trying to take a wanted felon who was armed with a handgun into custody. And so that's the bulk of what we do, is really the smaller calls, but we're also here for the high-risk operations such as armed bad guys who are shooting people, like out in the neighborhood, or like a hostage rescue type incident.
So advanced training for those maybe more dangerous situations that a deputy might not have all that right skill set or tools.
So the SWAT team is there so that we can have highly trained police officers responding to the most dangerous situations that police encounter, and that highly specialized training oftentimes translates into us being able to de-escalate incredibly dangerous situations into situations where we can safely take people into custody.
Okay. And then one more quick thing. It's a joint team, correct?
Yeah.
What agencies are on there?
I'm glad you mentioned that. So it's an interagency team. We've got Hillsborough, Beaverton, Tualatin, and Sherwood are also on the team. And so it's about half Washington County deputies. And then we've got supervisors from Hillsborough and Beaverton also.
Nice. Well, let's not wait any longer. I know people want to see this.
Yeah, let's do a little tour. So what we have here behind me, we have 3 pieces of armor. We call it armor because it's bullet resistant. It'll stop bullets. So like if we have a bad guy that is, say, shooting, like we had last month, we had a guy who shot at some mental health workers. We take the armor so that we can get closer, see what's going on, and then we're going to be talking about CNU later today. Get CNU up there so we can start negotiations, which kind of kickstarts our de-escalation process. Armor can be controversial. It has been controversial. People say, why do you need armor? And I like to point out that it's our key tool for being able to start the de-escalation process. Because if a patrol officer is out there and he's getting shot at, we want him to defend himself, him or her. When we're able to be in armor, while it's not completely perfectly safe, it really mitigates the danger to the level where we can start to communicate with the subject who might be in crisis or causing problems.
So the whole, obviously the whole point here is a peaceful resolution, right?
Yes.
And this gives you allows you to utilize tools because you can get closer to a situation, get that communication going. So it's essential to your job.
I would say having armor, a mobile piece of armor that allows us to open up communication with suspects, is the most important strategic tool that SWAT has.
Okay.
It's what allows us to do what we do, particularly with getting negotiators to where they can communicate with subjects and getting to a position where we can start to have that interaction without putting police officers at risk.
Yeah.
And not doing the Hollywood thing of, okay, I'll drop my gun, if you drop yours, go. We don't do that. We want to keep the officers safe and have a peaceful resolution. So with that, we figure we'll just do a little tour. Just follow me. So we'll go in the back of the bear here. We'll step on up. And we've got some tools inside as you're coming up here. Hopefully we've got enough light that you're able to see. And we just keep some of our tools staged in here. This box is from our training that we're doing today and tomorrow. And we've got some breaching tools down here. So this is what we call a ram or a key, a single man key. And so one person can swing this. You'll see this on Hollywood and TV when they want to force a door open. Another breaching tool that's less common on TV, but we actually use quite a bit, it's called a Halogen Tool. We stole this tool, or at least the concept of the tool, from the firefighters who are the real experts at forcing doors. And we use that quite a bit. And then when we have the personnel and the capability and the time, we'll use this. This is a 2-person key. And it's really effective for getting doors open when people don't want us to open them. Let's go here. We got a dog pole so that we can control dogs that might be being used as guard dogs. And then I've got some medical equipment here. We've got, this is our medic bag. And then also, this is a larger medic bag that has more capability to this, but then also the ability to transport. So I've been referencing this as a de-escalation tool for bad guys, but it's also a rescue vehicle. So I can probably stand up right here. So if there's a situation where citizens have been hurt and it's not safe to go in, we can load up into here, put the armor between the bad guys who might be shooting at people, and then do the rescue, bring the injured people into here, and then leave the area. So you see I'm standing up here. We've got a turret. Let's see here. And what we can do is we can open up the turret, and you can step up here. And this turret is bullet resistant. It can move a little bit. I've got it locked down right now. And then if we want, we can open up this port to see through. All right, coming back down.
Hey, JC, real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they hear the word turret, they think of tank, right? Is there fixed guns that are mounted to that in any way?
There's no fixed guns. There's no weapons in the vehicle at all. Basically, it's mobile armor. That's exactly what we use it for. The turret up here, it gets that name because it churns. And so this has the ability to move. We can move that rifle shield 360 degrees, whichever direction we want to go. We just got a little bit left here. I'm going to crawl up front. So up here, where I'm sitting right now, this is where the forward negotiator would be sitting so that they have a good view. They've got access to the PA system so that they can communicate through the PA. And then the negotiator will sit here and they'll have a partner, and they do the forward negotiating, but they also send information back to the CNU command center, which you're going to see next. TNT works very closely with CNU. Really, we can't accomplish our mission of that de-escalation and increasing communication with suspects if we don't have CNU, which are the experts for doing the communication, the intel gathering, and communicating with the suspects. And then, of course, the driver sits there. They've got their mobile data computer here, lights, siren, radio, other items that you would expect to be seeing in a police vehicle. And then if we want, we can go out the side door here. And that's the tour.
So you mentioned earlier you guys have 3 different pieces of armor, right?
Yes.
What's the advantage of this versus the Humvee that you have or the V150? Do they have different purposes?
Yes. So the different pieces of armor have essentially different roles. The Humvee we're very fortunate to have. It's very nimble. It's much smaller. You can only put 4 or 5 guys in it, but it can go like in driveways and down narrow streets and fit in between cars. This big machine here just does not go some places. And then our other piece of armor, we call it the V150, is specific to off-road. It's actually past its service life. We're trying to get it replaced, but it's difficult to make that happen. We've been working on it. The V150's role, like I said, is for mostly going off-road, but that vehicle is getting on almost 40 years old now.
Wow. And I saw you guys using it, I think about a week ago, where every other vehicle seemed to be getting stuck.
Yes.
And that was being used to pull everything out, but
yes.
you were also able to get the operators from where they were staged to the location where they were needed because of that vehicle specifically.
That operation last week, it was in a really rural location. It was pouring down rain, lots of mud, and that's exactly what happened. Our mobile armor turned into a castle, and we had to use the V150, which has great off-road capability, and it was able to pull. We got 1 patrol car stuck, the Humvee stuck, and the Bear stuck, all in the same operation. Not the greatest win for us, but the guys did a great job of communicating, teamwork, and eventually everything worked out really well.
Okay, so you got a hat trick.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Nice.
Well, I'll tell you, a plug for the breachers, all right, because I used to be a breacher. That's the first operation where we've done mechanical breaching, manual breaching, and 2 different types of so we use the Halogen, ram, and circular saw all in one operation. So that's also the hat trick.
Wow. The things that make you guys happy.
I could talk I could do my 17-point, 2.5-hour presentation on professional, responsible, effective breaching if you would like.
And we're going to move on to CNU. So thank you for the offer. We'll be right back. We're going to be with Deputy Starr. Let's check out the CNU van. Hey everybody, we are back. Next to me, Deputy Starr, part of CNU from the jail division. He's going to go over the CNU van, what you guys do. Real quick, tell us about the team. Tell us about how many people there are, different agencies that are part of it. You got the spiel. You can do it.
Absolutely. So we are an interagency team similar to TNT and what JC was talking about. We are comprised of 26 members from several different agencies, including Forest Grove PD, Hillsborough Police, the Tigard and Tualatin Police, and Beaverton Police, as well as the FBI. We have about 26 members who all take on various roles during our incidents. We responded this year total to about 79 incidents in the community of Washington County. And we have, we have several different types of call-outs, just like JC talked about. We respond to incidents like warrant services. Our role is to support the tactical negotiations team with a safe service of a high-risk search warrant. We respond to full team call-outs. Those are the big ones that you see in the community where we take over a school parking lot or a church parking lot, and we have lots of different people there. We support TNT in their mission. And we also do on-duty call-outs like what JC touched on when he was talking to you guys, where the smaller things, where we're supporting maybe a quick mission of taking a high-risk fugitive into custody, and we roll out with TNT to help them negotiate if it were to go south. So that's kind of the call-outs, the makeup of the team. I personally have been with the Sheriff's Office since 2007, started as a reserve. I was a reserve for 1 year and decided I wanted to get paid for my service to the community. So I've been with the Sheriff's Office for about 14 years, and I've been a negotiator for 8 of those years. I've fulfilled various different roles, and we'll go over some of those roles here in just a second on the team. And yeah.
Well, let's do a tour.
Cool. Come on in the van. All right, so in where we're at right now, we are in the intel section of the van. So in here, you're going to have a couple different team members fulfilling the role of intelligence. Their job is to sit and find out anything and everything they can about our subject. So we're surfing Facebook, we're looking at Nextdoor, we're looking at anything and everything we can to try to find out information, to include neighbors' phone numbers so we can let them know what's going on. And so we have 2 members that will sit here. They each have their own headphones that they can listen to the call when we do get into a negotiation, which is obviously the goal when we roll out on a call, is to get the subject on the phone. We want to talk to them. 95% of our calls are negotiated with a peaceful resolution, meaning that no force was used and the subject came out willingly. And this year, we just talked to JC a minute ago, and he touted that only 4 of the calls this year have resulted in any sort of force used on the subject to get the situation resolved peacefully. And of the 4, no major injuries to either the subject or any of the TNT operators, which is our goal and what we're here for and what we support them for their calls. So that's the intel section. This is what they do. They call or they dig up any sort of information that we can find out on our subject. Moving back here, this is where the negotiation is actually happening. This is our NOC, or our Negotiation Operation Command Center. I do have to apologize. Before you guys showed up, I was polishing our first place trophies with our CNU trophy polish. We do have 5 of those, so I was cleaning those to make sure they look nice. That's another role that I take on the team. But this is where the negotiations happen. So we have, right here will sit a primary negotiator. Their job is to Be the one that's actually on the phone. When you hear about a negotiation or you see something in the movies, you see one-on-one, you see bad guy, and you see the negotiator. But there are far more roles to be filled, as I talked about a moment ago, with 26 team members. Everybody has something that they're responsible for on the team. So you have a primary negotiator, but with them sits a secondary negotiator. So their job is to simply support the primary in their role and help them with anything that they need to come up with to keep the conversation rolling. We're on a call out sometimes for hours. I think the longest call out we had was this year. It was over 30 hours long. So there are times where you're on a call out and you're talking to somebody for a long period of time before a break. And so you have to come up on the fly with things to say, and it can be very difficult. So as a negotiator, you are constantly working through how to keep the conversation rolling and how to gain influence over the person through negotiating. So that's why they have a coach, a secondary that sits with them and helps them. This entire back half of this van, the knock, is a whiteboard. I like to show this. You probably wondered why I had a Sharpie or a dry erase marker in my hand the whole time. It's to show off the fact that they can keep notes and write on any part of this, the back of this van. That's what the kids like when I take this out for demonstrations at community events. They love to write and color all over the back of the van. So the other two people that are back here, there are 4 people back here total, is a scribe. Their job is to do just what I showed you, write and take notes all over the van. And then we have a doctor. We actually have a psychologist on the team who gets paged out with us 24/7. She's a private practice psychologist. And she responds to our calls. Day or night, she gets the call, she comes, she listens to the call, and her job is to give us pointers and tips as to where to take the negotiation, things to stay away from, things to bring up, and so on. So that is pretty much the van. The other roles that we didn't talk about, we usually send 2 to 3 members with JC and his team to the front of the call or where the call is happening. So if you see this van, it'll be, like I said, in a school parking lot or somewhere where we have access to restrooms, wide parking lot because people are showing up in their cars from off duty. So this van will be parked somewhere like that, and then we'll send members up with JC to the actual house where they can, if it turns into a face-to-face negotiation, they can take over and start negotiating with them face-to-face from the protection of the bear. The other call-outs that we get are jumpers sometimes. Those are pretty rare, but yeah.
You really brought all 5 trophies?
It was just a coincidence that you guys were filming today and that all 5 trophies were here, and I was polishing them with our trophy polish because, I mean, we have...
Well, I see 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 21. What happened in 19 and 20?
So 20 was COVID. We didn't have a competition.
Good excuse. Next.
19, we're not going to talk about.
Okay, okay.
We're not going to talk about 19. We did score 5th place in 19.
Hey.
I may have missed that one. I don't know. I don't remember it.
No,
we'll see.
Must have been it.
Maybe it was pre-COVID. People were starting to get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, thank you. I don't think people understand the role that sometimes you may play and how important it is. So you and your team do amazing work. So once again, thank you for stopping or letting us stop by and apologize for interrupting. It looks like you got one more to polish. That 21 has been checked off.
That's this year's. I am working on polishing this.
Yeah.
I've done pretty good if you can get a close-up of that.
We're going to be right back with Deputy Huey. He's going to show off some of his toys from the ROVT or remotely operated vehicle team. We'll be there. Be back. All right. We're about to see Deputy Huey and some of his, see a drone. He's got a robot over there. But real quick, I want to touch on where we're at. We are in our Public Safety Training Center. So if you kind of walk with me right here, we've got a coffee shop. Over here, we've got a mock 7-Eleven. As you can tell, it looks like we're in an intersection. We got a stop sign, street signs. The streets are big enough we can pull the bear in that we saw a few minutes ago. And then back here, we've got an apartment complex. So this is part of the training center is called Scenario Village. What this gives us the ability to do is do hands-on training where we're actually able to respond to possibly a robbery at a 7-Eleven, or maybe we're going to a coffee shop to deal with a disturbance, or maybe it's a domestic up in the apartments. Whatever it may be, this gives us a real-life environment where we can try to polish our skills and keep them up to date. We are always training. This training center is amazing for us. We've got a fire range in here, or shooting range, excuse me. I think 5 classrooms. It goes on and on, the abilities that we have. And all it's doing is helping the deputies at the sheriff's office and other local agencies who are able to train here to just get better, be better at our jobs, so in turn, we can help the community. So moving on, we're gonna go right over here to Deputy Huey. I see one of your little robots here. Sorry, not little robot. I see one of your robots, and one of the smaller drones. First of all, tell us about ROVT and tell us about some of the tools you have, because this obviously is not everything.
You're right. This isn't everything, but this is kind of the meat and potatoes of what we do. So the first one on the ground there is the robot, which is our avatar robot. It's a ground search tool. It also has the ability to communicate, so I can drive this into a building and talk to someone inside who maybe doesn't want to come out and talk to us. So oftentimes I will supplement the TNT resource when they are deployed, and they'll use our tools to help communicate with people that are maybe barricaded inside. So that will be the robot. And then I've got a couple of different drones that I bought. The smaller one that's on the ground is one of our mini drones. So we use that for interior searching. So I can fly that inside and I can kind of look around. And then I've got the larger drone, which typically we're going to use outdoors, and I can use that for a larger search area. It's got a better camera on it. Okay.
So like we were talking earlier, the main purpose is to try to get that communication going. And you guys are just another way of trying to get that communication started.
Yes.
Okay. So talk about this stuff. I mean, why does this thing have cages around the what do you call them? I'm not going to say fins, but the blades.
Around the rotors? Because
yeah,
not all
blades.
pilots are created equal, and we got to have bumpers.
Okay. So it's like bumper bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, with hallways.
Correct.
Okay. And then why does this thing not have wheels on it and it has triangles?
Well, one of the cool features about this particular robot is that I can climb up stairs, or I can climb up this curb. If it gets knocked over, I can right it by flipping it back over. So those are some of the key features that this one does. It also allows me, with the treads, I can get over some rough terrain and I can move the flippers up and down.
Okay. And some of the houses we search, they're not always the cleanest,
They're not always impeccably clean. Correct.
Okay. So and that helps you get over a load of laundry.
A load of laundry.
Perfect. Well, I mean, they're here. Can we fly them?
Work?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start with this guy.
Okay. You gonna climb up that curb?
I mean, maybe. It's hard to say what's gonna happen.
Show off.
I almost took out my drone.
You did. That'll happen. So, the dome on the front with the metal bar going over it, what is that thing?
So there's 2 cameras on this one. There's one that's facing you, which is on the very front. That's a black and white camera. You can kind of see it down low.
Okay.
I'll face the big camera. And then there's one that's on top, which is what the PTZ is, a pan tilt zoom camera. So that one will kind of move around, and I can articulate with a separate function on my remote. Okay. So I can look around the room a little bit. Or if I want to get a little bit higher and maybe kind of get a different angle, I can do that and kind of move the camera around. And I'd use it's also got a headlight on it, so if I can't really see, I can shoot that little guy out. I'd use the microphone, but I think it would sound kind of scratchy on your
That'll happen. That's fine.
Recording.
All right. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Now, can you actually go up a flight of stairs?
I can go up several flights of stairs, as long as there's not too much interference. I mean, I can go a pretty good distance before I could climb up into any of these buildings, and I could search the second floor.
Now, if you were, talking about distance there, in a situation like this, you're not going to be standing right next to this robot. Where are you usually at? Are you in the Bear? Are you somewhere? You in the CNU van?
Typically, when I deploy this thing, I'm up with the forward element. So the first guys that are through the door with the TNT element, I'm usually with them at the very back of the stack. And then I'll run the robot ahead of them to make sure that we can kind of see what's going to keep them most safe and what we can see inside the house.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, let's do drone.
You want to do the drone?
Let's do the drone. And now, does this have live video on it?
It does. So you can see there's a couple of different ways that we can view it. So I can view it with my cell phone through an app, or with this one I use an iPad so I get a little bit better picture.
Okay.
Take off.
So you're saying this one would be utilized inside, so you could fly into this store
Sure.
and then go fly around and check it out. And what are you looking for typically in a situation where you're deploying this?
I might be looking for a person. That if we're looking for a specific person inside, I might be fly this inside because it's someplace that I can't get the robot necessarily. This also has better streaming capabilities, so I can use the video camera and I can get a better picture. I can perch it and I can just land it on a table. If I just want to watch a door,
Okay.
you know, I can fly it and I can just watch a door for the guys.
And last week we made a comment because who was it? Corporal Aiken was here with the K9s. Will you? Because they said they'll search buildings. Will you guys search at the same time with a dog and a drone?
We do. They don't always like the buzzing sound, but they do a pretty good job.
Okay. So it's just a different view, a different type of search, and it's just another tool.
Just another tool. We also use them, well, typically we use them with TNT for warrant searches. I can also use this for search and rescue. Another feature that we'll use it for would be like on consent. We can certainly go on consent. And traffic crashes. These are really good for diagramming traffic crashes.
Okay. And so now major crimes, sometimes do you help them as well when it comes to a large crime scene? We talked about that earlier with Commander.
We do, absolutely. We'll go fly over and get scene photos, which we do quite often.
Okay. So you and your team are pretty busy.
We're pretty busy.
How many members are on your team?
7.
7? All Sheriff's Office employees?
Yes.
Okay.
Currently.
Currently. Are you guys looking to try to bring some outside agencies in?
The talks have been happening, but it's just a matter of getting the right people in place and getting the agencies on board to purchase drones and then train pilots, because you do have to have a pilot's license. Is it okay if I put this down so it can hear me?
Huh?
Is it okay if I put that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You do have to have a pilot's license in order to operate for an entity like the Sheriff's Office.
And that makes sense. And my question with that is, I mean, ROVT, excuse me, been around for a while. But it seems like within the last couple of years when drones got a little smaller and cheaper, your team has just taken off and is utilized tenfold. Is that about right?
That is absolutely correct. In fact, we have got a number of drones. I mean, I have 2 with me, but each member on the team has a drone. We've got extras because oftentimes on some of the bigger callouts, as you can imagine, the batteries don't last forever. So we have to be able to take a drone in and bring a drone out and continuously have coverage over a specific area.
Gotcha. And now, is there a specific, you were talking about drones going in and out and your FAA license and being a part of the Sheriff's Office. Is there specific rules that apply to law enforcement or specifically your team when it comes to flying the drones?
There are. There are very much more restrictive rules when it comes to law enforcement, and there's only certain things we are allowed to fly for.
So you can't just be, you know what, I'm going to just start peeking in people's windows and see if they're doing things illegal.
Correct. That is not okay.
That is not okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do not do that.
Yes. And then, but what about on flying at night versus flying at day? Is there different rules when it comes to that?
There are rules for that as well. So you have to have a certain light package on the drone that allows aircraft to see you. Even if we're only flying 20 or 30 feet off the ground, we're still required to have that light package, and then we need to be able to fly at night. So we have a waiver that allows us to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have it?
Do I have the waiver with me?
Yeah.
It's in my pocket. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, anything else you want to tell us? I mean, we could go on and on and on about these tools that you guys have. It seems like you keep getting more, and you guys are just helping out every different aspect of the Sheriff's Office. So is there anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So for today, that is the end of today's episode, show, whatever you want to call it. Next week, we got a lot coming up. We're looking forward to it. We understand we have some technical difficulties. We're going to be back at the Sheriff's Office for the next two different times. So we will have that under control. We do apologize. We appreciate it. We understand that we were not able to get to your guys' questions, everyone's questions today. I want you to be able to go, and we're going to go ahead and put it in the actual comments or the text for this video, our public affairs email address. Send us your questions. If it's specific for Deputy Huey or maybe Commander McCrae, we will get to them. We will get that question. We'll get it answered, whether it be emailing you directly back or getting it to it next week on Wednesday. So next week, Wednesday, 7 o'clock at night, we will be there. We will be live. Amy, next week we have jail. And that's a whole different world. It's you and I are patrol certified. You saw Commander McCrae. He was a patrol and jail. and then Deputy Starr was jail. It's two different worlds. It amazes me what they can do. I really hope you're able to come check it out. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night.